Hello and welcome to AskPolymathGeddy, your polymathic source for information, knowledge, and wisdom, mate. Next question is from Greg in Hot Springs, Arkansas. He asked a whole bunch of questions in one, so I'm going to read them and answer as I go along. And it'll make things go better, I think. So here we go. What is public speaking? Can anyone learn it? Can anyone master it? Okay, public speaking is when a human being stands in front of the public in any form, whether it be in person, video, or otherwise, and he speaks in some way, usually to inspire, teach, or resolve some matter. And that's pretty much what public speaking is, I guess you could say. Can anyone master it? I will say probably no. Not everyone can master it. Can many people master it? Probably yes. A lot more people than we think really can master it. I think a lot of people limit themselves, but everyone, I mean, come on. Everyone's a big amount, okay? Everyone is everyone. There are some people that don't have an arm, some people that don't have two eyes, there are some people that are born with another head. I mean, there are exceptions to almost every normality, so I have to make an exception to this too. Maybe 60, 50, 70, somewhere in there % of people could probably get really good at public speaking, maybe more. It's possible, sure. Do I feel confident in public speaking? Not so much, even though I'm making these videos. But it's something that I believe I can work on and develop. What tips, tricks, and advice do you give for people? Are they shy, or for people that are nervous, that forget easily? How long is a good length? Okay, let me stop there. First tip number 1, study public speaking. That means look at all the writings that have been done on it, that have been released, and research it. I mean, like everything else, anything you want to learn or know about, research it. Okay, the information is out there. Go and find it, consume it. Let it internalize so that way you understand it thoroughly. For me, a great teacher was Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie understood so much. So did Napoleon Hill. But Dale Carnegie was more specific with public speaking. And his book had a major impact on my life. Public Speaking and Influencing Men in Business. So I suggest you find that book and read it. That book will tell you more than in almost any other source you'll find out there. And it's a course, it's not just a book, so don't think you're going to open it up and close it in the next 2-3 days. Okay, it's something that you're going to have to work with. They give you practices and exercises to go through to increase the quality of your diction and to understanding of all different things. So make sure that you really dedicate some time to it. I'm going to say at least a week, and when I say week, I mean several hours a day for a week, or at least a few hours a day for a week. Really get committed with it, and that will transform everything that you thought you knew about public speaking. It will help you evolve in many ways beyond the public speaking, so that when you do public speak, you will have more to give. Okay. As far as how long is a good length, depends. It really depends on the format, depends on the scenario. If you're in a small room with some people, sometimes a 3-minute speech is all you need. You know, a thank you speech sometimes is less than a minute. And it's great, and people memorize it and think it's a iconic moment in time. So it all depends on the scenario. Other times, if you're in front of people, especially if you're lecturing on a topic, 45 minutes, an hour, maybe longer might be good. It's just important to consider the format, the topic, the setting, the number of people, and also consider the fact that the attention span of the average person is not very long. So you have to consider that and keep in mind that, maybe every hour people might need breaks. They might need 10-15 minutes, go to the restroom, have a drink, whatever else, come back focused again. You don't want to exhaust your people too much that you're speaking with. So it's just important to have good practice and good common sense, basically, when you're communicating with people. So where else are we on this question here? Should you have fluctuations in your speaking, highs and lows? When? What tones and voices do you use? Okay, the key to this is to be natural, okay? The idea is to not sound like you're premeditated or you're forcing it too much. Speak like a normal person does who's just very passionate. That's all you really need, is a passion behind the words, and then you'll know whether the words should go up or down, or whether you should hold a note longer or not. So you see what I just did there? I've got more up my sleeve. Do you tell jokes and stories? Do the rules vary on the subject you are sharing and the audience you are listening to? I think I answered that one already. But yeah, use humor at times. You have to have your own taste about it. You have to have your own discretion, should I say. And it varies. I can't give you one answer for all because there's so many answers. It depends on, like I said, the variables of the situation. How many people are in the audience, what the topic's about, how much time they have, if they're here for a specific amount of time before they go, if other people need to speak too, you don't want to overstep their time. So there's a lot to be considered. I think the most important thing about public speaking is that you utilize the opportunity to unite people with your common message. That's the main idea. No matter what you're public speaking about, whether it's just to tell jokes, to teach people, to warn people of something, I don't know what else. The whole point of all of that is always going to be to unite your intention with theirs, okay, and to unite all of our intentions together in the room as we speak. So you're just up there and holding the lead role in that process. So whatever you say is going to execute that result. So as long as you're maintaining your ideas and you're dispensing of them in a very fluid, organic way, and you're allowing people to understand what you're saying, and you're reading their responses back so that you're understanding, okay, that joke didn't go over, this analogy didn't work, let me further explain. Or if people are looking off into the distance here, maybe you should engage them more. Do something to kind of get their attention. Do something to kind of make them want to pay attention. Start asking them questions. Don't just stand there in your own little public pulpit here while you speak and then you walk off. No. Sometimes you have to just engage them. Sometimes you have to acknowledge someone in the back row and make a joke about them to make everyone laughing. Now you're cool. Now they're listening. You see what I just did there? And now you're able to talk again. So it's a question of understanding the audience, and it's a question of really executing your will in a very friendly, amiable manner, and also sharing a message that is important to you, that you think is important to other people, that they must embrace, and you have to be able to deliver that in a convincing and in a very enjoyable way. Because even if it's bad news, people need some type of silver lining. The British are coming, but we have our muskets. We have our numbers. You see, notice how I added that element in there to kind of round out the situation and make people have a little hope for this situation. So even if it's a negative thing, even if it's something that is pending and looming and scary, you still want to offer some type of positive resolve, because ultimately what you want to do is win the will of the people and win their favor and their respect. And even if you're joking, you're doing the same thing. So it's really important to understand your audience. If you're going to speak on a subject that they don't know about at all, it's important for you to find some bridge to that subject for them. Find something that you know that everyone understands. Build a bridge to your point. Don't just throw your points out there and have them misfire. You want to engage, you want to accomplish something with your speech. You want to actually reach them in a way that they understand. So it's very important. I would say one of the most important aspects of public speaking, even though I don't really do that really much, is to read your audience, to understand where they are in relation to where you want them to be, and then find the right mechanisms to bring them there. And the way to do that is by just viewing them. I mean, I know from a public performer, as a musician, what songs people like more than others. So if they like a certain song, I might opt to play that song again, or maybe drag it out a little longer, because people are really liking this one. So it's the same thing with public speaking. The same concept applies whenever you have a performer executing their energy or dispensing or diffusing of their energies to a generic public. You want that public to appreciate and engage with the source of that energy. So if you're the person speaking, you are the source of the energy. Okay, and your idea is to throw it out to people, have them internalize it, appreciate it, and then throw it back at you. So whether you're speaking, playing an instrument, or anything else, You really want to have that interaction. That's the most important thing, I think, in public speaking, is to engage the audience with your message. Don't just speak to them, speak with them. Identify them. Bring someone up on the stage. Say something. Use them as an example. Because that person represents everyone. And that person just stood up there and did that thing for you to represent everyone. So now we're bridging the gaps, okay? We're creating more of a unity between you and the audience. And that's the most important. That's by far most important. Everything else is details. How you dress, how you walk, how you talk, all of that can be changed, you know. Speaking properly in one environment might work great. In another environment, you might not be taken seriously because you're not relating to the people. You're not speaking the way that they speak. So you have to really understand your audience and tailor your message to their understanding. So as long as you're having the interaction, you're able to tailor your message. So I think that's the most important, is really engaging the audience, tailoring your message to them, and driving it home, just like that. Thanks for your question. For everyone else, you can send your questions to AskPolymathGeddy@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook, Geddy Friedman, Polymath and Renaissance Man. You can find me on Instagram, PolymathG. Please do follow, and you can share my stuff too, but just tag me in it. I think that's about it, so thank you very much, and I will be answering more questions. Thank you.